We know that there is a Batman movie coming from Matt Reeves.
No.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know if you heard breaking news. Just 3 years ago, they announced it. Matt Reeves has got this movie coming. We also have the Birds of Prey and the Fabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, or we might as well just call it the Harley Quinn movie, because we all know it's just a Harley Quinn movie. Anyway. But with the success of Joker and things like that, there's an interesting article that came out in Variety. And we'll get to a lot of the details in this Variety article, but one of the things that they mentioned in this Variety article is that Warner Brothers had the foresight to sign, and this is pretty standard for most comic book movies, to sign the key villains in these films to multiple film deals because they have an eye at maybe doing spin-off movies of these villains. Not origin stories like Joker, but perhaps doing spin-off. Now, this is in a Variety article. Right there at the top, it says, there had been chatter that the entire Batman film would unfold in Arkham Asylum, the high-security prison known to comic book fans for housing super criminals, but that is not the case, according to insiders. Only a handful of scenes will be set at Arkham. If the movie works, Warner Brothers and DC believe that any of these villains could headline their own spin-off movies. Key cast members in both the Batman and Birds of Prey have contract options to appear in sequels and, here's the key word, standalone movies. In sequels and standalone movies. Now, Rob, one of the things that we know is that signing cast members in comic book movies to multi-film deals, that's standard operating procedure. Even if they never use them again,
that's right.
They always sign them to multiple film deals. But according to this report, Warner Brothers did so this time around with the eye that possibly we could do standalones. Now, this is different from the Joker situation, which is its own isolated universe with an origin story. They could be looking at a Catwoman movie, hopefully better than the Halle Berry one. They could be looking at, maybe a Carmine Falcone standalone gangster movie or anything like that. Now, they're not getting ahead of themselves. They're just saying, you know what? We want to leave these options open to us, so let's sign all the deals that we need to have these avenues open to us a little bit down the road. Rob, 2 separate questions for you. Number 1, do you think we will see spin-off films of these characters that we're going to get in the Batman movie and possibly the Harley Quinn movie? And number 2, is this something that Warner Brothers is getting ahead of themselves, or is this just good foresight? How do you see this?
Well, first of all, no, I see it as good business, good foresight. They're taking a totally different tact than the MCU. And I think that's great. I think it's been proven. You've got now, even though Shazam might have not made as much money as they wanted, they didn't expect it to make $1 billion. So you have Wonder Woman, you have Aquaman, now you have Joker, and you have Shazam. To me, that's 4 for 4, with varying degrees of success. They've changed their tact. And the idea that if you have a fan favorite villain, if what happened to Heath Ledger, which was so unfortunate, didn't happen, wouldn't you have loved to have seen a movie just about Heath Ledger's Joker?
Would have been interesting.
I think it's the smart play. I think it's really interesting. They're being smart. They're leaving their options open. And if you get the Harley Quinn breakout performance that they got for Margot Robbie out of Suicide Squad, why not open it up and say, hey, we can have one villain or a couple of these villains, team them up. This is not something that's unprecedented in the comics. So why not do it? I think it's good business. It's actually kind of exciting because now you're going to be looking at all these villain characters in a different light. Like, wow, I hope they make a movie about this person. So could be cool.
The one thing that makes me nervous a little bit, and I think this is good business. I think they're laying good groundwork. And I think, listen, if a couple of these characters in these movies really hit it with the audience, why not have an avenue open to you to pursue something? The one thing that makes me a little bit nervous, though, Rob, is the fact that, and it comes back to this, and we've been talking about this for a while, they still are targeting, they haven't had a lot of movement, but they're still targeting an Aquaman spin-off movie on the trench.
Yeah.
And to me, what that reeks of is, ooh, Aquaman worked. Quick, let's do something else related to the Aquaman movie. It's
right.
Like nobody's asking for a trench movie. And it just, that's the one thing that makes me a little bit worried. And so I'm a little bit worried about, if they do this Batman movie and it's like, wow, Batman made $1 billion, assuming it makes $1 billion, it may or may not, but let's say it does. quick, we need to do every sort of offshoot from Batman that we can. Now, look, that's not saying that if they do move forward, say with a Zoe Kravitz Catwoman standalone movie, that's the result. I'm just saying, I just hope that if they do move forward with this, it'll be for the right reasons. Because I think, you know what? We have an incredible narrative path that a couple of these characters can take, and we feel like we need to explore them rather than, Aquaman made $1 billion, quick, what can we spin off from Aquaman, quick? You know what I mean? And so that's the only thing that do you have any fear of that, or do you think they're going to insulate themselves?
I think you're absolutely correct about that. And, you know, everybody thinks, not everybody, but they in Hollywood, they have a tendency to think that if one thing works, then something else will work too. Hey, we made a Batman villain movie that made $1 billion. Let's make another Batman villain movie. That'll make $1 billion. No. That kind of thinking, you never will win that way. No one in Hollywood ever got rich following a trend. You only get rich setting trends. And of course, Hollywood wants to be risk averse, so nobody wants to make those leaps. So they're always trying to follow up success with like-minded or similar kinds of success, which I get. But when you're talking about the Joker movie, that, I hope, set a bar. That was a film that we talked about how it moved beyond its comic book origins. It talked about the one percenters. It talked about healthcare. It talked about all of these things that Arthur Fleck was going through that so is the audience. They related to it beyond a comic book villain movie. And unless you can make a film that isn't just about a comic book villain, like, woo, we'll see how they do with Harley Quinn. We'll see how that works. But I think if you're going to do that, you have to have, like every movie, great characters and a great story. Because if you put your success in front of those things, you'll never win. Now, I'm saying it's great that they have the option, but now with Joker, they've set the bar. Now everyone's going to be like, well, if you're going to make a DC villain movie, it's got to make $1 billion. And that's a very, very hard thing to do.
Yeah, and a little bit unrealistic and unfair. It's unfair.
A little bit.
Movie does not need to make $1 billion to be a huge success. Wonder Woman was a huge freaking success, and it didn't get close to $1 billion. And it was a huge monster success. But you're right about, people think that, oh, this sort of thing worked? Do the exact same sort of thing. Because look what happened when Deadpool came out. When everybody was like, see, R-rated comic book movies will make huge money. It's like, yeah, but you're conveniently forgetting right now that they did about 10 R-rated comic book movies before and they all flopped. So it's not that one thing automatically equals that anything like it will have equal or greater success.
Well, everybody's always trying to, like, they think, okay, an R-rated comic book movie, that's a huge blanket. Deadpool was one specific character teamed with one actor and teamed with one director who knew how to make the most out of a $65 million budget. That is a very rare mix. And yet everyone's like, wow, they look at the results and think that's really easy to do.
Make every movie R-rated, every comic book. Yeah, I know. But that's what we do, right? That's kind of what we do. And it's what the studios also do sometimes. Question here is, guys, what do you think about Warner Brothers laying the groundwork for setting up possibly spin-off films from Batman? Are they getting a little bit ahead of themselves? Do you think maybe like me that, no, this is just good planning? How do you guys feel about it? Jump into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right.